How's it guys, this is Dayvy FPL and welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now firstly I just wanted to inform you that I have created a pre-season playlist, so all the videos that I've created this pre-season have been loaded into one convenient place for all of you guys who have yet to watch the content or maybe just want to catch up on the previous videos. So I'll leave that link down in the description, otherwise you can just head over to the channel and go to playlists and it will be the only playlist in that location. Hopefully you guys watch the previous videos as there are a lot of points and ideas that are kind of a continuation from video. So it's quite informative to watch all of them in a sequential order. But without further ado, this video is going to be the top 5 best new signings part 1. I'm sure in the future weeks leading up to game week 1 we're going to have a lot new signings, and I'm hoping for some big signings so that we can kind of incorporate them maybe in our fantasy drafts. So this is part 1. If you're watching this a little bit in the future, I'm sorry, but some of these might be a little bit outdated or there might be a lot of better options than these players, but this is currently, as of recording this video, my top 5 best new signings. One thing to note in this video is I have not considered players that were on loan at the club last season and only this season have made their moves permanent. This includes the likes of Raul Jimenez at Wolves and other players like Tielemans at Leicester. I also did not consider new signings for promoted teams, as basically every one of those teams is a new signing coming in to this new season for FPL. So I'm sorry if you were looking for maybe some of those options, but these still provide some great options for your squads and hopefully you consider them when doing your drafts. First things first, our community league Dayvy vs the World is up and running. To join the league, just type in the code BDFI35. Thanks to those of you who have joined, and for those of you who have not joined, I will try and get a prize or a sponsorship for the winner. I'm trying to work on that, so yeah, just join the league because the more numbers we have, the better chance of us maybe getting a sponsorship. So thanks to those of you who have joined, but just a reminder, and I probably will be doing this at the beginning of the video every time. Firstly, I just wanted to talk about the new West Ham signing, Sebastian Haller. He is a forward and he has been transferred from the Bundesliga to West Ham as their record signing of £45 million. Now, this is not one of my top 5 best signings. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update, as I do think this is quite a big update. He comes in at £7.5 million. His price was actually released about an hour ago and it is causing quite a stir in the community. I personally think that he's a little bit of an increased price than I thought. I thought that he might come in at about 6.5, as that's kind of the competitive price tag for the budget forwards. And it's a little bit of a strange price for me, as he comes in 0.5 million more than Arnautovic, who has recently gone to China. The reason I'm saying this is that Arnautovic was a proven FPL and Premier League goal scorer, so an unproven striker coming into a new league and being priced more than the departing one is a little bit weird for me. But as I've said in the previous videos, is the FPL team is a little bit optimistic, and obviously they thought that because this is a record signing, he has to perform. For me, this is a little bit of a wait and see, as he comes in price the same price as Raul Jimenez, and I don't think any of us are going to be choosing Sebastian Haller over Raul Jimenez. You can probably get him in your team quite easily, as he's not the most expensive striker, but as I said, it's probably going to be more of a wait and see. In the Bundesliga last season, he registered 29 appearances with 15 goals and 9 assists. And to be fair, those stats aren't the worst. And considering the Bundesliga is also quite a competitive league, he should hopefully do well in the Premier League. So for me, it's a wait and see, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update, as he is a fresh new player, and to be honest, probably the biggest one that has been added up until this current transfer season. So as I said, hopefully we get some bigger signings and hopefully some maybe better options, but seeing that he was priced quite expensive, I'm kind of hoping that the FPL team does not price new signings that more as we kind of expect them, as then we're going to be kind of priced out of bringing them in our squads. But just a little bit of an update on the new West Ham striker. Getting into our first option of our top 5 best new signings is PEREZ from Newcastle, who has recently transferred to Leicester. The reason I've put him in my team, even though he was already in FPL and was already played in the Premier League last season with Newcastle, for me it's a completely different team and a completely different player. I think that if Perez gets into a little bit of form and with Leicester's new signings, he can be a great option, and I'm expecting big things from him. Last season he played 37 appearances, registering 12 goals and 2 assists, but it should be known that those appearances were kind of substitute appearances, and the goals and assists kind of came towards the end of the season, which gives me hope that hopefully he can continue this form into preseason as he has been doing. He scored in the recent Leicester preseason game, and if he keeps up this form, he can hopefully have a really good FPL season. Brendan Rodgers recently had some words to say on how Leicester will hopefully score a lot more goals this season, and Perez is hopefully going to have an influence on that. I currently think that he might play in a front two with Jamie Vardy, but he probably could fit into the midfield as well, and he is listed as a midfielder. So I'm hoping he plays up at the front two with Vardy, and then we have an out of position player. And as you know, midfielders get more points for a goal than forwards. He comes in at 6.5, which makes him quite a competitive option, as there are quite a few 6.5 million pound options there, including his teammate Tielemans. I did not cover Tielemans in this video. As I said, he was a season-long loan that turned into a permanent transfer. So I have high hopes for Perez, and hopefully he can score loads of goals and assists as Leicester challenge for that top 6 spot. The next player we're going to go on to is Che Adams, who has signed for Southampton from the Championship. He is a striker that comes in at £6 million, which makes him a little bit of an attractive option, as he is a little bit cheaper than the other budget options, but a little bit more expensive than the other budget option from Southampton, Shane Long. The fixtures aren't the best for Southampton, but him coming in at 6 million allows him to potentially be on the bench, and you rotate him with another player when Southampton do have good fixtures. He played 46 games last season, scoring 22 goals and 4 assists, which proves that he is quite clinical. Those stats aren't the worst in the world, and I expect him to kind of translate those into the Premier League. A thing to be said is a lot of people kind of question if these championship players will be able to register the same amount of goals and assists and register the same amount of performances as they did in the championship, as the Premier League is a lot more competitive. But my argument is a little bit of a counter argument, that you probably find that the teams they transfer to are a little bit better than the teams they were in last season. So hopefully Southampton can get the ball rolling here and Che Adams can get off to a good start. I personally like Che Adams as the fact that Danny Ings is a little bit injury prone, and that means that he is the number 1 option at Southampton, especially if Danny Ings gets injured. So you could opt for Che Adams, comes a little bit cheaper than other players like Josh King, but at 6 million he could offer some good returns if he gets off to a good start. The third player on the list is one that is quite familiar to us, Jay Rodriguez. He transferred from West Bromwich Albion to Burnley this season. And as you can see, a fresh-faced Jay Rodriguez there. He used to play for Burnley after being transferred out by the club, but has made his return, and he's probably hoping to get a little bit of redemption there. He made 47 appearances last season with 22 goals and 6 assists, and for West Bromwich Albion, that is probably quite good. I currently am a little bit skeptical about him, as I think that West Bromwich Albion probably play a style that's a little bit better suited to him than Burnley. Burnley kind of play a little bit of punt it up and hope that the striker gets onto it, and they kind of score a little bit of scrappy goals. But I do think that if Burnley can get their playmakers going like Gudmundsson and those type of players, then Jay Rodriguez can have a good season. The waiting point and kind of thing that brings a little bit of cloud of caution over Jay Rodriguez for me is that he does have Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes ready to challenge, and he is probably going to have to win the spot off them. He comes in at 6 million as well, which makes him quite an attractive option, but considering the other Burnley options and the fact that they have been proven goal scorers in the Premier League, he could have some competition there. So for me, it's kind of a wait and see. You can kind of get him in after game week 4, that Liverpool fixture, if Burnley are playing some attractive football and Jay Rodriguez is on form. So the second last option here is Christian Pulisic. He comes in as a winger from Dortmund who was signed last season by Chelsea, but that deal only came in after he agreed to stay the rest of the season with Borussia Dortmund. He comes in at 7.5 and is a midfielder, but probably will play on the wing for Chelsea. I see that he has played a couple of preseason minutes for them, so that's a situation to monitor there. He did have 20 appearances for Dortmund and he scored 4 goals and 4 assists in those 20. Not the best stats, but it also shows that he probably wasn't the chosen winger for Borussia Dortmund after having made only 20 appearances. Chelsea's fixtures are also particularly good, and with a new squad and new manager, they're probably going to be putting in a lot of youth players, and hopefully we can get some new dynamic to that squad and make use of these nice fixtures there. For Christian Pulisic, for me it's currently a wait and see, but if you want to get a major differential, I would recommend him. He's probably playing for a top 6 side. They'll definitely be challenging for top 6, so it's never that bad to get a proven kind of talent in your squad, especially if they're playing for a top 6 side. So if you want to go for Christian Pulisic, this is another option for you. Now the last option I've gone for is a Manchester United option. Now Manchester United have made 2 signings this season, but they probably will make a couple more from now till the end. The first signing was WAN-BISSAKA and the second was Daniel James. I've opted for WAN-BISSAKA here as Daniel James is a little bit unproven and his stats in the championship weren't the best. However, he has shown his blistering pace in pre-season and that could be a vital asset to him in the upcoming season. But with WAN-BISSAKA, no one will argue he was probably the most consistent and most surprising £4 million defender that we will ever have in FPL. Last season he came off a great season, having registered 35 appearances, making him a set starter for Crystal Palace, and he registered 12 clean sheets and 3 assists in that time. Now my hope for WAN-BISSAKA is that he's going to come into that Man United defense and solidify them defensively a little bit. As you know, Crystal Palace actually had about 5 more clean sheets than Man United last season, so hopefully he can kind of bring them a little bit more of a defensive form. My hope for Manchester United is they do in fact sign Harry Maguire or get another centre back in, and that will hopefully make that defense a little bit better. With WAN-BISSAKA, he also has very good going forward stats. He has one of the best dribble and take on rates in the league. So if you're looking for a little bit more of a fullback that attacks, I would go for WAN-BISSAKA. He comes in at 5.5, which is quite an attractive price when referencing the Liverpool, Manchester City and Chelsea options. For me, it's kind of a wait and see on this one as well, as I don't trust the Man United defense currently, but I'm hoping that WAN-BISSAKA can kind of come in and sharpen them up a little bit. I think he'll have a good signing, and in my opinion, this is a very good signing for Manchester United, and I'm sure they'll reap the rewards of signing this young English player. So that's basically going to wrap up this video. As I said, there'll probably be another part or a part 2 to this video, as I'm expecting a lot of more big signings from now till the end of the season. So stay tuned for that video, but otherwise please like this video if you did enjoy it, and subscribe if you're new or haven't yet and are simply just enjoying this FPL content. I appreciate any support for the channel, and we are trying to hit 10,000 subscribers before the start of the season. Might be a little bit of an ambitious goal, but I'm going for it. So as I said, subscribe if you're new, and if you're also new or just want to get some more tips, as I said, the playlist will be down below so you can go check out my previous videos. But otherwise, stay tuned for another draft video coming soon, and I'm going to be signing off. This has been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.